Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I'm borrowing someone's office and he told me that I have to turn the on-air sign on. I was
Oh,
like,
do you have it on air?
I was
That's
like,
cool.
no, that's too much.
I do have I'm live sign on my door. Like, don't come in here, please. Don't.
Not allowed.
One time I was recording someplace for Connect Live, and like I had an agent like I couldn't even look at them. It was
There was
awful.
nothing you could do about it either. You're like, it's happening.
I had to ignore him. I felt bad. I called them later and just said, I'm sorry. I was doing something for Connect Live.
Sorry.
All right. Just give you co-host.
All righty. This way they can see my screen bigger than they can see my face. I'm always like, I want to share something as soon as possible so no one's looking at
So
me.
no one can look.
Melanie, your face is beautiful.
Well, thank you, Kim. Thank you.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
I always tell people when they, like, my coach is like, you need to be on Facebook. You need to do videos. I'm like, I don't want anyone to look at me ever in life. So
Oh my
it's very
gosh.
hard. Just don't look at me.
You're a kook.
How is everybody doing today?
Good. Very good.
It's gonna snow tonight.
No.
They actually just switched to the forecast on us because it was supposed to snow.
And now it's not?
Now they said rain now for us. I don't know if it's like that everywhere in New England, but I was like, yay.
No, I guess overnight we're getting 2 inches. Ugh.
I don't want any snow.
Because we were at 4. We were looking at it like 2 days ago. And then they said, oh, never mind, it's gonna rain. We're like, oh, thank you, Lord. Put away all our troubles.
I don't know how to make my laptop not make my face blue. I haven't figured out how to do that yet.
It's gotta be a camera thing.
Yeah, I'll have to figure that out another time.
I just have to get like an actual webcam.
Me too.
Like a good one.
Kim has a really good one. Just make her
might steal the TLs. I mean, just switch.
I was just gonna say, I'll make Kim buy me one.
I'm like,
Kim,
I do this more than you. I need that more than you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need this more than you.
You see all the they have new designs in for emails.
Oh, really? I haven't gone in there today. I was in there yesterday, but more for listing presentation.
Like pre-done articles and things like that. So
really?
Yeah.
Under social?
No, for emails to like send out. Yeah. I was like, wait, when did this happen? I should know this.
Maybe I'll teach that tomorrow then. Maybe I'll teach designs tomorrow then. If there's some new stuff in there, that would be fun.
There's new email designs that you can use.
I wish we could see a preview of them. That's what everybody tells me right here.
I know. Yeah.
So can I ask you a question? Is it starting at 1 or is it already started?
Nope, it starts at 1.
Starts
Oh.
at 1.
Okay, because
We're just chatting.
oh, okay, no problem. Just want to make sure that I'm in the wrong program.
No, you're good. You haven't missed anything.
Okay, thank you.
You're in the right place, Mina.
Okay, good, good. So I'm trying to catch up on this, but it's not easy, my friend.
Well, we're going to try to make this a workshop today. So we're all going to have patience with each other and try to have you walk through some of this and do it while we're together, okay?
Okay, that sounds good. So do I have a different computer screen? Like, do I have to have 2 computers, or how do I follow you and try to do it too?
Yeah,
So
go ahead, Maggie.
I was gonna say it's a little. I know it's difficult sometimes. If you have 2 screens, that's great. It makes it awesome. If you can have like,
I do have 2 screens.
then you are good to go. Yeah.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. Are you guys the same people that do the listing initiative?
No, Jen runs that. Jen Bovey.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna, did you guys do that? Because I wanted to ask a question about, I missed the first 2 weeks. And I was wondering, how do I catch up after the 3rd week?
I think the recordings are on the New England YouTube channel.
No,
Yeah.
but I need to follow it. Like, I'm trying to follow what they say to do.
Oh, I see. If you ask your leadership, they should have the materials for those first 2 weeks. So they should be able to give them to you.
And they did mention that they're going to be starting a Facebook group specific for that listing initiative.
Oh,
I think I got in there, but there is a Facebook group for it now, and they're putting all the materials in the Facebook group as well.
no, but it's not, I have the material. I got the material online. What I'm asking is, I'm 2 weeks behind. They tell you to do this on the 3rd or the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. I'm
Right.
on the 20th now, the 18th today. So how do I kind of catch up on the 2 weeks that I didn't do it?
Oh, so just add the 2 weeks to the back end.
Yeah.
Oh, so not to do it like trying to catch up, just to stay with the 3rd week. That's where they are now.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Thank you. See, I need help.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Start where they are, and then anything that you didn't use, do it at the end when it's over.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, those calls have been really great. The material they give is awesome.
Yeah, I like the material because I really need to go back on it because when they talk, it's too fast. I can't really keep up.
Yeah.
So,
It's tough too, because the material comes out after, so it's tough to take notes, but
right. No, the material is great. It's very
Yeah.
clear as long as you follow it, I think it's good. All right, I'm gonna mute you so I can kind of put the other screen on. All right, thank you.
We're gonna start in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, folks. And if you can work along with us, if you can have command open in a different screen or a different location, you can actually walk along with us as Melanie does, shows you guys how to do a smart plan.
The smart plan is what, like for sending things out, or is it, what do you consider a smart plan?
we'll go over that. We'll explain what they are and how to use them once we get started and we have everybody here with us.
All right, sounds fair.
Yeah, good question.
Um,
See if I can get on this screen. Sure.
1 minute warning.
Yep.
So I wanted to tell you, I have an appointment at 1:30, so I'm gonna have to just listen to some and then I could pick up the rest. You have a recording after this?
Yep, everything here is being recorded and should be up on the YouTube channel once Cassie posts it up there. So don't worry if you can't keep up or if you need to like watch again, you'll be able to do that, no problem.
Okay, great, thank you.
excited to see so many people on here joining us. Love that. All right, so it's 1 o'clock. So we like to be on time and make sure that we respect everyone's time that's here. So thanks so much for everybody that's coming. My name is Melanie Ruiz, and I'm the Market Center Tech Trainer for Leading Edge, which is in Lincoln, Rhode Island. And I have the pleasure of being accompanied by the wonderful Maggie, who's here as well to help us. So today we're going to cover SmartPlans, and our intention is for you to actually do this along with us, sort of like a workshop, okay? And so I just ask for everyone to be patient with each other. And if we can't get through all of the questions, or if we're having technical issues that we can't really solve during this call, we will ask to take those offline afterwards, so that we can try to get through some of the material with everybody that's on here. And Maggie will be sort of watching the chat. We do want you to ask questions, so please feel free to jump in and ask questions. We want this to be, you know, purposeful, so that you guys can actually use some of this in your business, hopefully starting today, okay? All right, so I'm just gonna get started, and I'm just gonna do a couple of quick basic reviews, just in case we have folks on here that are not very familiar yet with Command. The one thing that I always like to point out is on the top left-hand side of Command, in the little red box with the KW.
I think when do I put it out?
If you click that little red KW, it will actually open up all of the icons, so you can see what all of those icons are and what those applets are. So if you can't remember which one is SmartPlans or which one is Contacts, etc., click that little red KW and it'll help you see what those are, okay? So again, if you guys could, you know, it might be a little bit tricky, but if you could open up Command on one screen or one window and then open up us on the other, and you can sort of watch and listen and then actually do it as we go along, okay? So SmartPlans is what we're gonna cover today. So the way that I like to think of SmartPlans, or explain SmartPlans, is it's an automatic or automated communication system for you to use with people in your database, okay? So if you think about MREA, just as an example, they say that on average, it takes 36 touches per year to make sure that you are top of mind for any of your clients or people in your database, so that when they think of real estate, they think of you, okay? So if you think about all the things that we see, listen to, read, talk throughout the day, in order for you to stay in the mind of your database, you have to touch them or stay in communication with them 36 times in a year. So that's a lot of work, right? And so how do you keep track of that in your mind, right? And that's not always just going to be phone calls. You can only call somebody so many times in a year. So that's a combination of emails, phone calls, birthday cards, newsletters, text messages. So SmartPlans is a way for you to automate some of that communication to make sure, one, that it's being done. Number two, that you can track it. And three, ultimately, that's going to help you build a stronger relationship with the people in your database. And it's going to give you some insight into what communication works best, how best to communicate with certain people in your database. It's going to provide you a lot of valuable insight into what that relationship looks like, okay? So I'll show you just where they are. I'm going to show you a few things today, and then we're actually going to make a smart plan together. And the smart plan that we're going to make together is going to be very helpful for you to use in 2 weeks when we go to Facebook ads, okay? Any questions so far just on what a smart plan is?
No,
All right.
thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so SmartPlans is your fourth icon down. It looks like a little checklist or to-do list under tasks. So we're going to click on SmartPlans. Okay, so when you first open up the SmartPlans icon, if you have already started using SmartPlans, you'll see them listed in front of you under the tab here called My SmartPlans. Okay. If you've never done SmartPlans before, this will be empty and that's perfectly fine. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the easiest and quickest, most efficient way to start using SmartPlans. We're going to click on the tab. So right now I'm on the top left-hand side of the toolbar. I'm going to click on Library. So Keller Williams culture is one of sharing, which is fantastic. And so inside of the library are already pre-created SmartPlans. So the first few that you'll see are from KWRI. There's 10 SmartPlans in here. And yes, we're going to go through some of these and what they mean. But I just want you to recognize that a lot of this work has already been done for you, which is super efficient. And the more that we use these SmartPlans, we're going to recognize which ones are efficient, which ones may work better for your business, which ones may not. So these are pre-created by KWRI. And most of these, you can't really modify too much. And I'll explain to you what that means once we get into these. Underneath that are several hundred other SmartPlans that have been created by other Keller Williams agents. This is fantastic because these are agents that are already using these on a high level. They're testing them out. They're seeing what works and doesn't work. And it saves you a lot of time and energy. You don't need to recreate the wheel, okay? Luckily, you can take these pre-created SmartPlans and you can modify them and edit them to match your business and the way that you communicate with your clients, okay? So this is your library. So I always suggest to folks that you start here because you do have the ability to go and create your own SmartPlan from scratch, which I'm going to show you. But using something that's already here is much more efficient and will help you at least get started, okay? So I'm going to show you very quickly on how to just use one of these pre-created SmartPlans. So again, we're in the library and I haven't chosen any filters or any choices, and I'm just looking at the first list of SmartPlans that comes up. And you'll notice there's a little icon here that says 10. So we know that there are 10 SmartPlans that are created and provided by KWRI. So a really easy one that you can start using right away, I would suggest the quarterly call plan. So if you remember, part of that 36 touch is suggested that you speak to each one of your people in your database 4 times a year. And if you follow DTD2, it's the same essential process where we make sure that we're calling each person in our database at least 4 times a year. So if you go down to the SmartPlan, I'm under quarterly call plan, and you hover or click view steps. This is going to show you the different steps that are part of this SmartPlan. So now remember I mentioned some of the ways that we can communicate is phone calls, text, emails. In this case, we're on a call plan. So the first step in our SmartPlan is to make a phone call. And you'll notice when I hover, a little box will pop up, and inside of that box is a place where you could put a script so that when you make this phone call, you already have in front of you what that phone call is supposed to be about, okay? And I'll show you later that you can actually modify what's in this box. Then the next step is a 90-day delay. And the last step is to repeat it. So what this means is, once you apply this SmartPlan to a contact in your database, the first thing it's going to do is tell you to call this contact. Then 90 days later, it's going to start over and it's going to remind you to call that contact again. So now you've got a plan where the system is going to remind you every quarter to call this contact in your database. Okay?
So Melanie, ask you a
Yep.
question. On this quarterly call, so basically you're doing your own script. There's no script here already.
Correct.
So this is just to remind you to call, that's it.
Correct. Yep.
Thank you.
No problem. So now if you look at the SmartPlan and you think that at least the basic structure is something that you can use for your clients, you're going to click Add Smart Plan. Okay. You can also click Add Smart Plan right from this library screen. So you don't necessarily have to view steps. You could just click Add Smart Plan right from this screen. Okay. And I'll show you what that looks like and how you get to it afterwards. So the other cool feature inside of the library is that you can do a search. So for me, just as an example, Nick Baldwin is a fantastic Keller Williams agent, and I just love his material. And he provides a lot of different smart plans. So when I'm coming in to use a smart plan, I'm always going to come in and look at Nick's stuff first. Okay. So in this search bar, there's a drop down. One of the options is author name. So if you're on Facebook, or if you're on a regional training, or you're on some type of training in your market center, and someone says, oh, so-and-so has a great smart plan, you can actually come and search by their name. So I'll just give you an example. I'm going to search by Nick Baldwin. So now all of the results that I get are smart plans that were created by Nick Baldwin. And now I can go search through his, see what I like, and same thing, I can view the steps. There's a quick description. And then if I want to use that smart plan, I click Add Smart Plan. Okay. There's also a description. So this is probably more of like a general search box. So if I know that
I
I'm,
couldn't see his plans. Is it only you can see? Because I typed his name, but nothing came out.
did you check the spelling?
Same for me.
Huh.
Make sure you were searching an author, guys. The
Author name, yep.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
it.
I did it.
I found it.
Anyone, it's Baldwin.
Correct.
Do you, if
Maybe
you're-
it
Under
depends
library,
which
are you
office
under
you are from.
I'm
Sorry,
under
that's-
library, author name.
Yep.
Sorry, no results found.
Huh.
Is your filter button white like mine?
Nope.
Okay, so you probably have a filter on.
Filter by author.
Just do filter reset, and then we'll get everything away from the.
Yeah, so if you click that filter button and then hit reset, if you look on my screen, and then close that out and
Okay,
try again.
Yeah, you need, yeah.
but we're still clicking on author name, correct?
Yep.
Under smart plan name, yeah.
Got it. Thank
Put
you.
in Nick and came up. I just used Nick.
I
So
got
if
it.
you are, if
Thank
you look
you.
at my, did that work, Stephen?
It did work, thank you.
Perfect. So guys, what happened was you probably had a filter on. So if you look on my screen, right next to that search box, there's a little button that says filter. If that's blue or greenish color, that means you have a filter on. Okay, so you would just click on that filter button. Then another toolbar will show up on the right-hand side, and you click reset, and then you close that box, and you should be all set. I would say filters are great, but that's sort of a level 2. At least first get yourself familiarized with the smart plans, how to use them, and then maybe once you get a little bit more comfortable, we would come in and start working with some of the filters. Okay, awesome question, thank you. All right, so that's how you can search inside of the library. Again, you could also search by description. So let's say I'm going to be running a Facebook ad, and I want to see what there is for plans for an internet lead, or a Facebook lead, or a buyer lead. You could search by any of those search words, and you might get your results a little bit more intentional with that particular thing that you're looking for. The other option is just to go into the whole library and just kind of skim through it and see what you find in there that's helpful. Okay. All right, so I want you all to just go in and pick one plan and add it to your library. And if you're not able to do that, please speak up so we can get you there. All right, I'm assuming everyone's good. Okay, so now that you've added something from the overall library, you're adding it to your smart plans. So now we're going to go back over and click on My Smart Plans. And everyone should have at least one thing listed in here. And if you don't, let me know.
So where do I go to see it?
On My Smart Plans. So Mina, are you looking at my screen?
I am.
So up here,
Yeah,
it's the library. You're going to
Yeah.
click on My Smart Plans.
I have it down. Yeah.
Okay. And now do you see something in that list?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So that's how this works. If you're going
Question
to
for
use the
you.
pre-existing plan, you just add it and then it will go into your smart plans. And now you're just looking at the ones that you are going to use for your business. Okay.
For you. It says smart plan name must be unique in your library. Is that something that we need to change?
So do you already have, you may already have that smart plan in your library.
It seems to, this little asterisk seems to come up for any plan I choose.
So can you click on the My Smart Plans tab for just a second and tell me what you see in there?
This is prior to clicking the download button to add it to my library.
Yes, but you may already have it in your smart plan library. So if you go to My Smart Plans, do you have anything there?
I do, I don't have this particular one in there. It's the quarterly one from.
It's
you
called
guys.
My Quarterly Smart Plan, I believe.
Yeah, so when I go to add it to my library, there's an asterisk underneath it saying that this smart plan has to have a unique name to add to my library. And then if I go to check my library to see if it's already in there, it is not.
So how many do you have in the tab called My Smart Plans? If you scroll to the bottom and it says viewing 1, 2, etc. How many does it say you have?
5.
Okay, so you only see 5 on the screen in front of you
Yes,
and none of them say My Quarterly?
correct.
You stumped us. So Rebecca will reach out.
Okay, that's good, thank you.
I'm just going to jot your name down so we can take a look at what's going on. Usually what will happen if you guys are trying to add something from the library to your smart plans and you get a funny message, it's usually because you already have that plan added. And sometimes that happens because you'll click that button, you know, 2 or 3 times. You don't realize, you can't see that it looks like it's doing anything. And then it's already been added to your library. If that's not the case, then reach out to your MCTT and they can help you figure out what's going on. But Rebecca will reach back out to you.
So Melanie,
Thank
so
you.
these plans are not auto done. They're not like, they don't go out on their own. You have to actually.
Correct. You have to start them and we're going to cover how to do that.
Okay.
All right. So Rebecca, I think you can still work with us here because as long as you have one in your library, then the rest of this you can still help, you can still do with us. Okay.
Perfect, thanks so much.
Yep. All right. So now most of us probably are going to pick a different smart plan and that's totally fine. But I'm going to show you the steps and how we can modify and edit these smart plans to make them your own. Okay. Some of them you may just leave the way that they are, and that's perfectly fine as well. If you want to edit them and make them more towards how you speak, the type of information that you would share, then this is where you would do that. Okay. So anytime you're editing inside of Command, you're going to look for the little pencil. And if you were to hover your mouse over that pencil, it should say edit. So that's a typical feature all throughout Command. So in this case, we're going to now go edit one of these smart plans that are in your library. If you have more than one, just pick one, doesn't make a difference for this exercise. So I want you to click the edit button. Hopefully yours is loading a little faster than mine.
But button is just the pencil, right?
Yes. Yep. So now you should open up a new screen. And if you look at mine, you'll have some information on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, you'll have what we call widgets. So widgets are another thing that you'll see in different parts of command, like in designs or when you're doing your website. So
Really?
your widgets are on the right, which are little icons, and then the content of your smart plan is going to show up on the left. And if anybody's having trouble getting there, just let
Now,
us know.
I got a different screen. My screen is different.
So is mine. It does,
Mine too.
mine says this is an active smart plan on the far right.
Okay. So in that case, you've probably selected one of the 10 Keller Williams ones
Yeah.
that were at the top.
Yeah.
And so I mentioned in the beginning, some of those you can't edit
Okay,
because
yeah.
they're tied with an algorithm to the system. So if that's the case, if you could go back and choose another one, and I'll go through that just one more time so you guys can follow me. And we'll try to pick one that is not one of those 10 KWRIs. Okay.
Yeah, generally the KWRI ones you cannot edit. Those kind of have their very specific algorithms. You can change the wording in it, but no widgets in those.
Right.
In the library for this exercise, you're going to want to pick something that is not a KWRI smart
Got
plan.
All right. So we're back in the library, and I would just say scroll down and maybe just pick this 555 database one might be good. Just pick one that is not one of the KWRIs.
Go under a top rated one, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Top
Yep, like
raters
this
are
one.
good. Those
This
are
one's
always
got
good.
like 2,200 agents using it, so they must be doing something right.
Super.
555. All right.
Okay.
All right, so how do you add that? Can someone tell me how you add that into your library?
Download.
What do you do first before you get to download?
You click on you. Oh no. Oh, shoot.
You click Add Smart Plan. You're getting there.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Okay.
So we're going to click Add Smart Plan. The next box that pops up allows you to change the name of that plan. If you're fine with it the way that it is, you just can download. If you want to change the name, you just click right in that box and you can change the name of it. And then, like you said, you click download.
Then
All right. Does anyone not have a smart plan in their My Smart Plans tab? All right, perfect. So let's try that again. I'm glad that came up though, because that's something that people usually get stuck on. I got stuck on it at first. All right. So again, we're going to click on the little pencil that says edit.
Melanie, mine's not downloaded. I'm sorry, I couldn't find the right button to push to say something.
That's okay. So if you look at the smart plan that you want, there should be a button that says add smart plan.
I did that. That wasn't a problem.
Okay. So then a box pops up with the name of it there.
It says my quarterly call plan.
Okay. We don't want to use that one. We're going to pick a different one.
Oh,
Yep. So go back into the library again.
yeah, not so easy.
It's okay.
Cancel. Why not that one?
So that's one of the KWRI ones that we mentioned can't be edited. So when you go into that library, you're not going to pick one of those first 10.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go back there again. So in the library, you're going to see Keller Williams and the number 10. I want you to scroll past those and pick one of the other ones that's listed probably under top rated.
the 555 works well.
Yeah, the 555 database touch looks like a really good one.
Just go ahead. Just go on. I'll just watch.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go back to My Smart Plans. You're going to choose the one you want to work with. If you have just one, that's fine. We're just going to show you how to use the button. So you click Edit. All right. So again, on the left-hand side, we'll have all of the pieces or steps, as they call them, of your smart plan. And then on the right, you'll have your widgets. Maggie, did you want to say something?
If,
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So on the right are your widgets. So the widgets are essentially the different steps that you can add to a smart plan. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through what they all mean. So the first one is create task. So without getting into too much detail about what tasks are, essentially this just gives you as the agent a to-do task inside of command. So just as an example, a call. So if one of your steps in your smart plan is to call your client, the computer is not going to call the client for you. You as the agent have to take an action, okay? So that's a task for you as the agent to do. So example is task, is a call, or it could be a reminder for you to put that client under a search in MLS, or to create an account for them on your website, right? So those are things that the computer and the system is not automatically going to do for you, but it's going to remind you that it's something that you have to take care of, okay? Then there is a separate one called make a call, which again, it's not going to automatically call for you, but it's going to remind you that you have to make a call. And when you set that one up, you can actually put the script right into that step. And we'll show you what that looks like. The next one is to send an email. So inside of your smart plan, you can actually create the email in advance and then make that a step in your smart plan. And if you have your email connected inside of command, it will automatically send that email out for you. Okay. The next one is send SMS-MMS. That's sending a text message. And so if you have Twilio set up, and if you're not familiar with Twilio, get with your MCTT and they can help you get that set up. But essentially, Twilio allows you to do mass texts without group text. So if you think about, if you have one, if you're holding a home buyer class and you want to tell everyone in your database that you're holding a home buyer class, and you just want to send everyone a text message. On your regular phone, the only way to do that at one time is to create a group text message and send it to, hundreds of people, which you don't want to do. So Twilio allows you to send one message to multiple people, but they get it individually. And if you have Twilio set up, the system will automatically send that text message out for you. Okay. Then there's a delay. So if you remember when we looked at that quarterly call plan, the first step was a phone call. Then we saw that step called 90-day delay, and then it said repeat. So that delay just pushes the date, right? It adds the number of days into your smart plan. So if you want to send a text message and then 2 days later, you want to send an email, you would set a 2-day delay.
Tech training.
Okay. All right. Then there's add to smart plan. And I'm not going to get too detailed because this is another one of those like level 2 things. But basically you have the ability to attach 2 different smart plans together. So as an example, let's say you create a smart plan so that you send out an email on St. Patrick's Day. Okay. Then you have a smart plan that you will send out a spring cleaning email in May. You could set it up so that you attach those 2 smart plans together so that on St. Patrick's Day, an email goes out. And then the next step in your smart plan is to send an email 45 days later, which is your smart plan for the spring cleaning tips. Okay. So just kind of know what that is, but that's kind of a level 2 once you get used to using smart plans a little bit. Okay. And then we have restart the smart plan. So again, the quarterly call is a perfect example of this. It's where you want to do the same communication and you want to do it on a regular basis, So you just restart that smart plan. So whatever steps you have in there, once it completes all those steps in your smart plan, it's going to automatically start all over again and go through all those steps inside of your smart plan. Okay?
All right,
Question?
Melanie, thank
Question.
you. It's great. I have to catch up later.
Okay, no problem, Mina. Thanks
Yeah,
for
so
being here.
I go to YouTube and find the rest.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So Melanie, can I just ask a question?
Yep.
So basically, these smart plans are really just ticklers, right? Is it a calendar tickler? So we're gonna, you're showing us how to do this, but the reality is it's basically just we go to command and then we look to see what for that day we're supposed to be implementing. Is that it?
If it's a task that you have to physically do
Yeah.
yourself, otherwise the system can do these things for you.
Okay.
Like the text message and the email.
Mhm.
If you have those things set up inside of command, it's not going to remind you to do that. It will automatically do it for you.
Okay.
Right, so this is leverage at its finest, right?
Mhm.
So the emails will go by themselves. The task, the text, if you have Twilio set up, will go by themselves. The reminders will happen for you to make phone calls, right? For those kinds of things. And so this is automatic lead generation at its best.
Yep.
Okay.
And we're going to show you how to use it specifically for lead gen and when we create our own. Okay.
Mhm.
Awesome
If you send out a smart plan and it calls for in 30 days the same message to be sent again, how can you stop that?
You're very smart, Peter. So you're getting to a level 2 right there. So there
Well,
is
I'm in trouble because I sent one out to every contact last night, and now I'm beginning to panic that I'm going to be sending the same message in about 30 days, and I don't want to do that.
Okay, so we'll show you how to fix that.
Okay,
So
thanks.
one, know that Peter, you can stop a smart plan at any time.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yep. So that's number one. Number two, you caught on to a very smart thing there. So as a text message, for example, if you have someone set up on a smart plan that's going to repeat, let's say in 30 days, 30 days later, you don't necessarily want to send the same exact text message, right? So there's two ways you can do that. You can add a separate, or the best way to do that is inside of the text message option, you'll have 3 different places to put a text message. And when you repeat, it will go to the next one. So let's say your first text message is, hey, Peter, how you doing? 30 days later, the next text message will say, hi, just wanted to check in and make sure you're doing well. And then the third text message will say, hey, Peter, just thinking of you, wanted to say hello. And you can set it up so that the 30 days will start with the first one. Then the next time it restarts, it will go to that second text message that you created and so forth.
What about emails?
So Maggie, does he create a new email? I think you would create another step, right?
I'm sorry, I missed the question. So like if the,
I sent out an email last
Yeah.
night, and then I guess the smart plan calls for it to be sent again in, I think, let's say 30 days. I think it's 30 days. But
so you have the same email going out again and again and again and again.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to basically send an update saying, so, well, that's it.
Got it. Yeah. In this case, so once it's running, you can't edit it. So once it's going, you're kind of, so the best thing to do, Peter, is to stop it and then just do a whole new smart plan.
And I can't stop it, can I?
You can.
Yeah, you can. You can stop it. Use smart plans at any time. So if you just sent it, then now's a good time to stop it because it won't go out for another 30 days.
So let's show you quickly how to do that.
Trust me, I've made those mistakes. Don't worry about it. We've all been there.
So Peter, we'll show you how to do that. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Yep. Good question. Okay. Any questions on the widgets and what they are and what they do and any of that?
When we click on a widget, is it just telling us what to do? Because I clicked on it and it brings me to that place in the smart plan. Is that what it does?
So it will actually bring it typically brings that widget that you clicked on to the bottom or to the end of your smart plan.
So it means I've just added to it by clicking on that widget. I've just
You got
added that to the smart plan.
Yep, you got it.
Okay,
Basically, it's like adding a step to your smart plan. So you are adding that particular step to that
Got it.
particular smart plan. Yep.
got it. Thank you.
If you add it to the smart plan, can you change the placement of when it happens?
Yep, that's what we're going to show you guys next
Okay, thank
on
you.
how to edit these steps.
Do you
Any
have an
other-
example of a Facebook smart plan? I'm not
Yes,
sure. if
yeah,
this
we're
was-
actually going to create, well, when you say a Facebook smart plan, do you mean like when you run a Facebook ad?
Yes.
Yes,
the-
I'm gonna show you a smart plan that we're gonna create that's going to match with one of my current Facebook ads.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep. All right, so just basic editing functions here within the smart plan so you guys can see how these work. I'm gonna skip past trigger event just for the moment because I just want you guys to see how you can edit the smart plans, okay? So once you have steps inside of your smart plan, you can edit the content within them and you can edit the order in which the steps happen, okay? So whether you're using the steps that are already here when you opened up this smart plan, or if you add other steps, the way that you edit them is always on the left-hand side, okay? So I'm just gonna start at the top so you guys can see how this works. So in mine, and it doesn't matter what your step is, in mine, it's a call, okay? Whenever you see one of these boxes, you can edit the content within that box, okay? So you can change what words are in here. So if you're looking at a task, you can change the task name. If you're looking at a phone call, you can change how you have that phone call listed. If it's a text message, you can change the content in the text message. And if it's an email, you can change the subject and you can change the content inside of that email, okay? And all you do is just click inside that box. And if your cursor shows up, then you can edit, okay? You'll notice in mine, there's some words that are in a bluish color, right? That comes from this function key on the right-hand side. So everybody see this little F in the characters? And then there's a little triangle drop down. This helps you to what I consider customize and personalize the information in your smart plans. So let's say I'm going to send out a text message to everybody that's on this call, right? When I reach out to Stephen, I don't want it to say, hi, Peter, or hi, Maggie, because if I type hi Maggie in here, that font or those words are going to go to everybody that I add to this smart plan. What I want is that when I send this message to Stephen, I want it to say, hi, Stephen. And when I send it to Peter, I want it to say, hi, Peter. That's what these functions allow you to do. So what it's going to say in here where it says call, and then it says contact.first.name or contact.last.name, what it's going to do is pull that piece of data from my command database, okay? So if you want to personalize your smart plans, you have to make sure that you have your well, if you want to use smart plans, first of all, your contacts have to be in contacts inside of command. Otherwise, it can't send to them. Then it will pull that information. So inside of command, I will have a contact named Peter Dodds, and it's going to pull whatever I have in that field for first name. So let's say I call him Pete. If I put Pete Dodds, it's going to say call Pete Dodds. Does everybody kind of understand how that works?
Mm-hmm.
This is great because it makes your person that you're speaking to feel like you're sending something just to them personally. Okay?
Is that reminding you who to call, or is that giving, like, is that reminding you who to text, or is that texting like call and it's got his name in there?
Good question. So in this step on my smart plan, it's make a call. So it's just reminding me who to call. If I'm sending out a text message, let's see if I've got one in here, or here's an email. So in this step, it says send email. I'm going to change my subject, and then I'm going to type my email, and it's going to actually send this email. So you just want to look at the name of that step that you're editing, and that will tell you what action is going to happen. Okay. So in this case, it's just this is telling me to make a call.
So Melanie, how does it know not to send them to everybody in your command database?
We're going to show you how to add people to your smart plan.
These don't just happen, right? You have to actually add people to the smart plans to start them. So this is just us setting it up for when we have people ready to go.
Can
Okay.
you do bulk? Like I have like, I don't know, like 400 people on my contact.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can. It's like very, very pleasant. Yes. So we're going to show you how to do that.
And when you're making a call, where does that task show up?
Great question. It's actually going to show up in your contact card. So I'll show you guys what that looks like. Once we add people to a smart plan, I'll show you how that relates to other parts of command and where you can see those activities. Awesome question.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. All right. So again, that allows us to edit the steps. And I'm just an oversaver. So anytime I save or modify anything inside of a step in my smart plan, I always check this little green check box. Okay. Notice that something popped up at the top of my screen. It was in a little red box. If that happens, you have to pay attention to that, because whatever you're trying to do isn't going to finish if you get that little red box, and it's going to give you whatever you have to do. It's going to tell you to do. Make sure you take care of that step. Otherwise, it's not going to save. All right. So now let's say I want to move one of these steps somewhere else in the process. You're just going to use the up and down arrows. So right now, step number 3 in this smart plan, and yours could be different. For me, it's to create a task. So right now, this is going to create a task. If I want this to be earlier in the process or earlier in the smart plan, I'm just going to click the up arrow. Okay. So now that task is not number 3 anymore. Now it's number 2. Okay. If you use a smart plan from the library and you don't want one of the steps that's in there, you hit the X and it will delete it. Okay. It's going to ask you to verify that to make sure you didn't do it by mistake. So you have to click remove again. And so now that step is completely gone from your smart plan. Okay. Any questions on how you edit them?
We just do that one more time. Do the removal of the task one more time, please. Sorry.
Sure. Yep. So right now I'm looking at my smart plan, and step number 5 says send a handwritten note. And I'm not a good realtor, so I don't want to send a handwritten note. Okay. So I'm just going to click this little gray X. If you look towards the bottom of that one step, you'll see an up arrow, a down arrow, a little gray X, and then a little green check mark. Do you see those, Peter?
No. No.
Are you looking at are you looking at a step on your smart plan?
Yeah, I may have the screen cut off.
Oh, probably.
I'm going to put full screen. Okay, got it.
Now you see them?
Yeah, I got them now. Okay. Yeah.
So your up and down is if you want to move that step up earlier in the smart plan, down if you want it to be later in the smart plan. X is to completely remove it from the smart plan altogether. And then the check mark is just if you're modifying things inside of this, you want to hit that little check mark when you're done to make sure that it saves. Oof. Is that a good sigh or a bad sigh?
That's quite squirrely, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I just use the ones in the library.
Yeah.
And I'll go in and change it to my name, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right? Why reinvent this stuff if it's already here and it's being used by agents that are successful? I don't feel the need. Well, I do have self-control issues, so I had to learn that lesson of not wasting my time fixing something that ain't broke. Okay.
I think though that one of the things that sort of strikes me is that if you have a bunch of smart plans set up, you've really got to manage them. I mean, you've got to really pay attention to them. Otherwise, you're sending stuff out that you really forgotten about or didn't realize you set up. So it's almost a daily task to manage all of the smart plans.
You shouldn't have to manage these, Peter. These are campaigns, right? These are what we call set it's and forget it's.
No, but
So-
if you send one out and something happens that you didn't expect to happen, or then you need to modify the plan. You've got to monitor the responses to the plan against the actions that you take to correct them or to adjust them or cancel them.
So here's I'm glad you brought that up. You guys should all have yourself as a contact in your own command, and you should test your smart plans out on yourself, at least until you feel very comfortable with how they work, what they look like, when they go out, okay? Always use a smart plan first on yourself and or someone else in your office. We will do it between agents in the office so that we can give each other feedback. You should always practice first, just so you at least know what your clients are going to see, so that when it happens, you aren't surprised, okay? Someone had their hand raised, Michelle?
Yep, just me. I just wanted to add to it because I kind of learned the hard way about editing smart plans that were made by individual agents. Just be aware that, like, when you guys are looking at the emails and whatnot, that look through it and see if the person put, like, their name or their phone number, because that's one thing that I caught on one of mine. I was like horrified. I was like, oh no. And I thought it was going to pull it from command, thinking like agent name was going to pull me in, but it didn't, because it wasn't that kind of setup of the merge fields the way that it is for like that contact first names. Just
Right.
make sure to look at all that stuff before you pull the trigger.
Very good point, Michelle. Really good smart plans use merge fields, right?
Yeah.
The merge fields, right? The good ones. So that's why the 5 stars and the 4 stars are really good ones to look at, because most of them already have the merge fields.
Yes. Yeah, don't send a smart plan out until you've looked at every possible thing you can look at on it, and send it to yourself first. That way you know what it looks like and you're not testing it out on a client. Okay?
Melanie, I'm looking at one from Nick's collection, and I think it's a response to a Facebook ad, perhaps. I don't know. I'm just reading through it. There are plenty of places to edit this and make sure that each agent's correct information and location and all that jazz is here.
Yep.
But then here's a perplexing question. This particular text message going out says that I want to send some market information to this person, and would you like some about the Lake Windward area? And there's a bit.ly link here, and it says, here's some information market-wise that you may enjoy, keeping up with. So what would that be? Where would I go find something from my local area?
Awesome question. And it just so happens that that's part of the smart plan that we're going to create together.
Oh, cool.
So are you comfortable enough that we could at least go try this? Okay. Oh, let me show you how to add people to it first, because that might be helpful. So there's a few different ways that you can add people to a smart plan. And for time's sake, I'm going to show you what I think is the fastest and most efficient way to do that. And it's actually through contacts. Okay. So you've already created your smart plan. It's already in your library. It's done. It's pretty. Now you want to set yourself up to actually receive that smart plan. You can do it from the screen we were just on. You can do it from your smart plans applet. I'm going to do it from contacts. Okay. So the intention of a smart plan is for you to be able to communicate with your database, and it's easiest to do that by setting up multiple people on your smart plan at one time. Okay. So someone asked about bulk. So this is the perfect example of why I do this through my contacts. Now, you're going to see that I have a lot of tags. Okay. And I won't spend too much time on what tags are, but tags essentially allows you to group people in your database that have similar attributes. So as an example, here's one: future seller. Okay. You may have buyer. You may have, in this example that I'll show you, I have people that were responding to an ad on Facebook. So I have a tag that's specific to that ad. Okay. So when you're thinking about your smart plans, you want to think about who you want to communicate with, and your smart plans should communicate with that audience. So if you're creating a smart plan for a buyer lead, That's going to be different than the communication you have with a seller lead. If you're just doing a 36 touch, then you could just add everybody to your database to that smart plan. But let's say I want to create a smart plan and I want to send it just to commercial prospects in my database, okay? You have to have that tag already associated with that contact if you want to do a bulk action based on tag. And there's other ways to do this, but I'll just show you first with a tag. So I'm going to, in my contact, which is your second applet, and I'm going to click on filters. So we're sort of on the left-hand side here, okay? So right now I'm sending out a smart plan to everybody that's a commercial client or lead. So I'm going to come in here and type in my contact, or excuse me, my tag. And I'm in this field called tags. And all I did was start typing the name of that tag. And if I have one, it's going to pop up and I click this little box next to it. Okay, and that's it. Now I'm going to scroll down to apply. Now the only contacts that are going to show up on the screen in front of me are those that have the tag called commercial. Okay. So now I want to add all of these people to a smart plan and I want to do it all at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm in this gray toolbar all the way on the left. There's a little box that allows me to select all from just this list that I have filtered out. Okay. Everybody with me so far?
Mhm.
All right. You'll notice once I click that, another box appears here just above the gray toolbar, and it's in light font, but it says select bulk action. Okay, so I'm going to click on select bulk action, and I'm going to hit add to smart plan. Okay. So right now, all I've done is I've selected only certain people based on some criteria that relates them. I hit bulk action and add to smart plan. So now all of the smart plans in my library will pop up and I can just see it on the list, or I can actually search by the name. So if there's a certain plan that I want to add them to, I can start typing it, and any plans that match what I'm typing in will pop up. When you find the plan that you want to add them to, you hit select. Okay. So Peter, this is also going to help with something that you touched on. You may not even realize it. So let's say I'm sending out a text message for a home buyers class, and I'm going to send it to every lead in my database. And let's say I have 150 buyer leads in my database, and I want them all to get this text message. If I send 150 text messages to start right now, if you see on the screen, start all now, that means all 50 are going to get them right now or in the next, couple few hours. Okay. I could get 150 people responding back to me at one time, and I'm going to get way overloaded. Okay. Or let's say I want that text message. I don't actually want it to go out today. I want it to go out a few days before my buyer's class. So I may say start it on a certain day, and then I can pick that day. Let's say it's a couple days before my class. I can pick the day that that message goes out. Okay. I don't want 150 people to respond to me all at one time. So my last option is to stagger the start date over a certain amount of days. This way, I can still add 150 people to the smart plan so I don't forget to go back and add them, but they're not all going to get text messages all at the same time. I can choose how many contacts per day will get that message. Make sense? Okay. I'm not going to confirm this because I don't actually want this smart plan to start. But what will happen is you click confirm, and then it's going to just verify what you said. Here's the smart plan. Here are the people that you're adding to it. It actually will show you the steps of the smart plan again, and then it will ask you to confirm. And once you confirm, all of those people are now on a smart plan. Okay.
So Melanie, when you did that, did you select a smart plan that was a text and not an email?
I didn't actually start any smart plan, but it could be any smart plan that's in your library.
Melanie, what if it's a home anniversary or a birthday?
So for those, I would probably just add everybody because it doesn't need to be specific. That's more of a generic smart plan. So I would just add everybody.
So those two are Keller Williams International ones. Those are the only date-based smart plans out there. The home birthday one, home anniversary one. Those are the only two, and you can't do too much to those. And those you're not going to stagger. Those are you're just going to set everybody on because those are going to actually go out when it's their actual dates.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm gonna have to try to do this quickly so we can keep time here, but I'm gonna show you guys how to go create your own smart plan. Okay. And the one that I'm gonna do is going to be a smart plan that's a follow-up to a Facebook ad. Okay. So I currently have a Facebook ad running for a listing that I have active on the market. And so I want to be able to have a smart plan start when those leads come in from my Facebook ad. Okay. So I went back to Smart Plans and I'm going to click the Create button on the top right-hand side.
The Invisible Man has his hand up.
How did you know?
It's hard to see.
Quick question on the date-based plans for the home anniversary and the birthday. I was under the impression, and I'm clearly questioning it now, you have to add everyone to that plan? I thought it was automatic based on the date, that once it was running, they were in.
No, you have to actually add them to the plan for it to go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'll just say that I can stay a few minutes past if anybody else can. I don't know if we're using this line for anything else, but I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as we can. Okay. So all I did was I hit the create button in the top right-hand side. And now I'm going to name this smart plan. And this is just for you. So you can name it whatever you want. For me, I'm going to name it something obvious so that I don't forget what it is. So this is the listing that I'm running. And it's a Facebook ad. Okay. So you name it whatever you want. And we are going to do Facebook ads in a couple of weeks. So it would be great for you guys to test this out so that once you run an ad, you'll have a smart plan ready. Okay. So I'm going to click apply. Maggie keeps smiling. So I feel like the chat is very entertaining and I'm missing out on a party.
they're just keeping me laughing over here. It's great.
All right. I'm just going to mute you guys. Oh, Maggie took care of it just because it's feedback. All right. So my smart plan is going to be very simple. Okay. So I want to create some way to communicate with these leads from an ad so that once I get that lead, I can start that communication very quickly. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to send a text. So all I'm going to do is all I did was click on that button that says send SMS. Now I have Twilio set up. So when I create this smart plan, I'm going to get this text message ready. And as soon as I add this person to the smart plan, Command is going to send them a text message. Okay. And I pre-wrote these. So I'm just going to copy and paste what I had saved.
As she's copying and pasting that, if you don't have Twilio, what this is going to do is it's going to create a task for you to do this step.
Yep. Okay. So it's just a very simple text message that says, thanks for your interest in the property that we had on Facebook. Please let me know what questions you have if you'd like to set up a tour. Now, I try to keep these pretty generic because then I can use this for my next ad without having to recreate all of the content again. I can just duplicate this smart plan and use it again for the next one. Okay. So now I'm going to hit the check mark so that I save that step. And then I'm going to add a delay. So I'm going to set a delay of
Melanie,
1
can
day.
I ask you a quick question?
Yep.
So you keep it generic, but if you want to do it by whatever property it is you're posting on Facebook, can you just go in and edit your own?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So if you want to say, thanks so much for your interest in 522 South Main Street, you could just type that right in here.
Okay, and then when I change the ad to another property, I can just go back and change the smart plan for that property. Or
Correct.
add the
Or
new
copy
correct-
that smart plan if you have multiples running at the same time.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Okay, so my first step in my smart plan is to send them a text message. Okay, then I'm going to set a 1-day delay. So it just says due in number of days is 1. And then I'm going to add an email. And all I did was click send email. So now my next step is going to be an email. My emails usually say almost exactly the same thing that my text message said, except now it's in an email.
So this is the text and an email in the same smart plan.
Correct. You got it.
Hey, Melanie, I noticed you have a site that you can go to. Can you email, excuse me, can you text that site on your texting when you're texting?
Yes, you can put a link in your text. Yep.
Thank you.
Melanie, this shows I completely don't understand what's happening, but who are you sending this to?
I haven't decided yet because right now I'm just creating this smart plan, but
But
eventually
this is going to some of your contacts, right? It's not.
this specific plan I'm making is going to be for people that responded to a Facebook ad that I have running.
So when you do that Facebook ad, it requires them to put in their email address. Okay, and phone number.
So that's what
whatever you
happens.
require.
That links
Okay.
up. It links up to. This is what Smart Plan does automatically.
Yes.
Links up to the Facebook. Oh.
Yeah.
Melanie, I have a question in regards
Maggie,
to
do
that.
we have Maggie? Are we okay to go over?
I don't. I mean, we can go as long as no one kicks us out. So
Okay.
yeah.
Very good. Go ahead.
I got about 20 more minutes. So yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Okay. So do we know if this is going to the junk mail or is it going to with Trulio and not Trulio through the emails? Is this going to go to the active email or junk mail per se? We don't know.
I mean, I tend to get mine through my active email when I test these. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not saying that we'll never go to junk mail because it certainly could, but for the most part, I've not had an issue with that.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Guess what
So I'm
also
gonna
depends
show-
on how good the information is that they give you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's anything when you're doing any type of internet lead type of ad, you have to assume a decent percentage of them are not going to be accurate. That's just the nature of internet leads. You know, that's Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, you know, Facebook ads are just like that, where, you know, a good percentage of the time, it's not going to be accurate information. But the smart plans are going to help you to take advantage of those that are real because you're able to respond faster because it's automatically communicating with them, or it's at least giving you a task for you to jump on it and get that done. And I am going to show you guys how this relates to the ad once we get through creating it. Okay.
Joseph.
Can I ask a quick question that's sort of related? Are they ever going to put on command where you can see who's been opening them and who, when they go to email? I know with the Buffini thing, you can see who's opened the mail and who hasn't. Will they
I
do
mean,
that?
it's something you currently cannot do at the moment. It is somewhere on the pipeline. I don't have a date for that.
But they are going to try. They're going to try to get it so that we can see who opens and
I
who
mean,
doesn't.
that is definitely one of the goals. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Tasia, you have your hand raised?
Yes. So when you're sending these out and you've got these leads from Facebook, you want them to stop when they finally respond or you connect with them. Is there a way to, you know,
Yes, in their contact record, you would be able to remove them from the smart plan.
So I would have to do that personally. It's not going to automatically know that.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you would
have
need
to do it
yes.
yourself.
Yeah, it's not going to know that you actually made connection with them.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Looks like we have a question from Joseph Diaz.
Hi, I'm just curious because I see how they got, it's probably by default, but they got the message down there about the do not call registry, but they give me their phone number that's like voiding that, isn't it?
Not necessarily, no. The because it's a Facebook automatic thing, that's why when you send someone a first message, the second message that automatically goes out from the system, like this is for whatever Twilio text that you send out, will be, if you don't want to get this anymore, then reply stop, in which case they'll be put on a blacklist.
How about a call? If you call them, if they send you their number and you call them.
I mean, right, they gave you your number, so you can give it a shot.
Right. Okay, that's what I figured.
Tasha?
Sorry?
It says Tasha, someone else raised their hand.
Oh.
I don't know if that was on purpose.
You answered my question. It's Tasia, but you
Oh,
answered my
sorry. Okay.
question. That's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, great. All right. So we've got our first step is the text message that's going to go out. Then I'm going to wait a day and I'm going to send a follow-up email. Now, this is just my process. Yours could be different. Your smart plan could be first thing is to make a call and you get a task and you can call them right away. Then maybe your next step is an email and then you do a text message. So this is whatever order is most convenient for your business and how you would prefer to communicate with them. If you're using one of the plans in the library, you can just use the steps that are there. I'm just showing you guys how you can create one on your own. Okay. So I'm making this up as we go here. So I'm just going to send an email. Okay. Now, someone touched on something earlier that I want to bring back up again, and we can't train on it now, but write it down as something that you want to learn how to do. There's two things that I did. One, I created a landing page for my listing, and you can do that within Command. And basically allows you to create a separate website where you can add your listing to it and have all of your photos, your listing description. You can add a market snapshot. You can add a button for them to download your app. So I created a landing page for my listing. And then the other thing that I did, which is I went out to my own website and I created a search around the home that I have for sale that is similar, right? So I created another search for any other 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, over 3,000 square feet in a certain radius. And then I used the URL from that search to create a link for my leads to click on. Okay. So basically what that looks like is you go out to your own website. Which is not loading. I'm in sort of a back room in the office, so I don't know that I have the best connection, but you guys will still get the point of this. So you're going to go on your own website. You're going to create a search. Once your search is done, you will come up here to your URL bar. Okay. So where it says ruizrealtors.kw.com, it will say something different. It will have a whole bunch of numbers and letters. That doesn't matter. You copy and paste that link. Now, every time someone clicks on that link, that search is going to refresh. So if they save that link, the next time they click on it, they'll have any search results that match the search criteria that you put in. Everybody following with what that was?
This is actually a really great way to add those market materials and links. And if you wanted to add a step later on, you can actually do a search for price changes in that same area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good way to do a follow up for these same leads.
All right, Melanie, okay. So you put in the address of your listing in that box and then it pops up with that URL and that's what you copy and paste? Yes.
So you could do that, or you could do a search for the area, like similar homes in that area in case they weren't interested in that particular home, right? You could do, other homes in that town that are similar.
You can type that in that box.
Correct. Yep. You could do searches.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's how I started it. Is I'll start with
okay.
the actual address of the listing, and then I'll pick some certain radius, and it all depends on the listing, right? So if I don't want people to search in Woonsocket and I want them to search somewhere else, that search can be whatever you want that search to look like. So if you want that search to be $1 million homes to get somebody excited and spend some money, you can create a search of $1 million homes. Okay. Usually you're going to create a search that's similar to the house that they're looking at, because that might not be the one, but something about that listing caught their eye that matches their need. So I'm going to try to give them a search that might have other options in case this isn't the one. You can help them find something else. Okay. And then I use Bitly. I know this is a little off topic, but again, it's just a really cool free tool that you guys can use. So you go to bit.ly.com, so bitly.com. And basically what Bitly does is allow you to create shorter, easier URLs, okay? So when you do a search, like I said, you're gonna have, ruizrealtors.com/32227xyz / and all these, got this long URL. Bitly allows you to create a shorter one and you can actually name it. So you'll notice my website for my listing is bit.ly/522 South Main Woonsocket. And you can do that through Bitly. It's very simple. You create a free account. Once you come in, you click create. And this will be recorded so you guys can go back. In the box called paste long URL, you're just going to paste that website that you had. Okay, let me just show you. Then it's going to take that and create a shorter URL, which you can then edit and name yourself. Okay.
So you know how you do when you do emails, you hit that the 2 links there and you put your URL in one and then you can rename it in the other. Is that what Bitly does? And
Bitly just makes the links shorter. So like you have a huge link like the one above in the URL, Bitly will make it tinier so it doesn't use as many characters and it isn't as ugly.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, it just renames whatever website you put in there. And then you can use that URL anywhere you'd like. Okay, so now we have our smart plan created. I'm going to hit save. And I got a little green thing that told me it was saved. The other place I mentioned, you can add people to your smart plan right from here. So once you create your smart plan, you click this little box that's next to the save button, and that will allow you to add people right from here to your smart plan. Okay. The other cool thing that you can do is add a trigger event. So this is how we're going to match this to my Facebook ad. Okay. So I'm going to click trigger event. And the trigger event basically means that I want this smart plan to automatically be triggered by some event that I'm going to define. And in this case, that event is adding a tag. So what I'm telling Command to do is anytime you see a contact get added to my database that has this tag, I want you to automatically start this smart plan. Everybody following? All right. So I'm going to select a tag. So I have a tag right now that's created that is for me to know that this person responded to a Facebook ad. Okay. So I'm going to click on that tag. So basically what I did was I created a tag with the name of the address and which ad it was. So in this case, I ran an ad for my listing in and around Boston. And then I created a tag. And now that tag is going to get added to every person that clicks on that ad. And then because I've added that tag, everyone that has that tag is automatically going to get started on this smart plan because I've added that trigger event.
Steven, you have a question? Oh, maybe not.
I couldn't find where the add trigger event button was because the bigger text box was hiding it. So
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So right here,
Nope.
right at the top.
Yep, I see it now. Thank you.
Awesome.
Question?
Sure.
Regarding these tags, so you said a while ago you have a lot of tags. Is this tag something that would follow this contact forever, or is there a time when you would actually maybe eliminate a tag like that?
So
Great
you,
question.
yeah. go
So
ahead.
as an example, anytime I have a new buyer lead, they get the tag buyer lead.
Mm-hmm.
Once they've been converted from a buyer lead, I remove that tag because I have SmartPlans set up so that as soon as a new buyer hits my database, they automatically get a SmartPlan that tells them about my monthly buyer class. Once
How are
they
they hitting
become
your
a lead-
database?
What's that?
How are they hitting your database, quote unquote?
I'll come back to that in just a second. So once they've become a client, they're no longer a lead. I remove that tag called buyer lead off of that contact.
Got it.
Okay.
Jean, I would definitely recommend, if you did not watch last week's, if you definitely catch contact database, command your database, because they definitely go over organization and tags and how best to use them. And I think that might help you out a little bit too.
Well, I'll have to do offline. I'm brand new. I just got onboarded on Monday.
Oh yeah. So definitely watch that one. It's great. It will help you out a ton on that.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Lisa, your question is, how do they get to your database? So I'm assuming that you're talking about leads from Facebook, right?
Yeah, I mean, right now, the way they're getting there is by me putting them there.
So if you're running your Facebook ads through command, they automatically create the contact for you.
Okay.
Yep.
I just haven't seen that happen yet.
Yeah, so we can't cover it now, but inside of your campaigns, inside of command, if you're running your Facebook ads through there, if you go into your campaigns, you can actually see all of the leads for each ad. Just one more quick, go ahead. Oh, okay. One more quick thing I'll show you guys, and then we've got to jump off. So I just want you to see what it looks like inside of a contact, what a smart plan looks like. So this is one of the leads that I got from a Facebook ad. Okay. This was another smart plan that I had her set up on. So if you have someone on a smart plan, each of those steps are going to show up as an activity under that contact. So you'll see down here, she was subscribed to a smart plan. Then it shows the step of the smart plan that happened. And then it shows that that smart plan ended. If you have someone on a smart plan that is not already complete, inside of their contact card, there's a tab called Smart Plans, and it will list any of the smart plans that they're on. So Peter, if you go inside of your contact, you'll see that they're on a smart plan, and then you can actually remove them from that smart plan right here in their contact card.
Individually.
Yes. Also, if you go into your smart plan screen, you can unsubscribe everyone from a smart plan all at the same time.
Does that cancel the smart plan?
Yes. Yep.
I have to do.
So I'll show you quickly what that looks like. So you'll notice inside of your library, there's a spot called contacts. This is where you see how many people are on a smart plan. Mine's taking a long time to load. So here's a perfect example. So this is a smart plan that I have set up for a different ad that's running. This means that I have 35 contacts on this smart plan. If I click this little eyeball, it's going to show me all of the contacts that are on this smart plan. Okay. If I want to just take one person off, I can click the box next to that person's name and click confirm unsubscribe. If I want everyone to come off of the smart plan, hit select all and hit confirm unsubscribe.
Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question.
Sure.
So all of this is based on tags, I assume.
Yes, you
So
can also.
I have had 4 buyer tags, buyer clients with buyer tags, and they're all under agreement, about to close. I need something to remind myself to remove buyer from that tag.
So, so you could, when you add that tag to that person, to that contact, you could also create a task for that contact, and you pick the date and set a reminder for yourself as a task to remove that tag. And you would just
So
have
the day after closing, I would change it to sold.
You could do that. You could also you could even do a smart plan that's called post close and put anybody on that post close smart plan. And in that smart plan would be a reminder to yourself to remove that tag.
Great, thank you.
Yes, there is actually a
I
post close
need lots
smart
of
plan in the
reminders.
library.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Can I ask one regarding leads? Like, because I know one of the questions before was about the KW app, and I've had situations where it's like I have contacts already in my database, and then they decide to work with me, and I'm like, oh, let me share my app with you. They download the app, and then lo and behold, I have 2 contacts now in command. One that just has minimal information, which is from them downloading my app, and then the other one has like all my notes and activities and stuff. How do people handle that? Because I already dealt with tech support, and apparently it's something that's being worked on, but I don't want to keep copying and pasting every time somebody I'm currently working with just, downloads my app after the fact.
Michelle, are you on a team?
No.
No. Okay. Then it's more than likely because that they signed up with a different email address.
They didn't though.
They didn't?
It's happened twice, and that was the question that came up: is it the same, same or different email? And it's not. It's the same email, and it's
So
still
hopefully that won't continue to happen for that long. So that, because that usually I've seen that happen with Teams and personal and Teams thing. But I mean, if you want, you can take that offline with me. Because we can't cover that here. And in fact, we probably have to kind of wrap up.
My laptop's because my charge is in the other room.
So yeah, you can. I'm mcdowell@kw.com.
Okay.
That was excellent. Thank you very much indeed. Thank
Oh,
you.
good. I'm glad. I hope it was helpful.
Yeah,
And,
very.
Definitely.
Very, very.
Thank you very much.
all
Very
right.
helpful, thank you.
Good. Thanks so much, guys. All
Go
right.
start some smart plans.
Yeah, go start one. Get one ready for the Facebook ads in a couple of weeks.
At the very least, make sure you just do the neighborhood nurture and put everybody on that one.
Yeah, a happy birthday, something.
Thank you very much. It was great.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.
Great
Are
job.
these every
Melanie.
week? These are every week on this day? Okay, super.
Every Thursday, a new topic. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Chris.